Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Today's program will be the best of Heisman Trophy winners. Rex Grossman, the head ball coach Steve Spurrier, Charlie Ward,
Danny Wuerffel.
Now we're going to go to the Titan MR hotline and we're joined by Gator great number 8, Rex Grossman. Good morning, Rex. How are you, my man?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing great. We appreciate you taking the time. Hope you and your family are staying safe down in South Florida. Rex, I want to go back to your days growing up in Indiana. I would like you to tell the story because, I don't think Florida was actually recruiting you. I think there's a story that you were going down with your family somewhere here in the state of Florida for a summer vacation or something, and y'all stopped by Gainesville and you dropped off your high school tapes. This was before nowadays. You can just on Twitter send high school tapes. Just tell that story real quick.
Well, I kind of, I had a really good junior year. Ended up being player of the year in the state of Indiana as a junior. And I kind of wanted to get everything out of the way before my senior year as far as where I was going to go. I didn't want the distraction or any of that. So I was not getting recruited very heavily by Florida State or Miami, really, but I was getting the standard letters. I was getting recruited pretty heavily by Penn State and, Purdue and IU and places like that. But, I wanted to play big time college football and, in the warm weather, they threw the ball a lot. And so obviously I wanted to play, for the Gators. That would be my ultimate dream. So I went down on spring break of my junior year. And they kept telling me, we don't really recruit Indiana, but you can come on down for an unofficial visit if you want. Kind of like, don't waste your time. But, I mean, if you're down here, come on in. So basically that's what we did. And we told them we were coming, on a random Tuesday around noon. And there's a secretary, Betty, I can't get her name. That's right. Yeah. So she was my host for the day. Just kind of saw us when we came in that morning and just started giving us a tour of the weight room. And this is where the coaches meet. And she's like, "You're probably not going to be able to see any coaches today." So I was kind of bummed out. And the hallways in the coaches' offices were, really skinny and kind of turned a little bit. And you could hear Coach Spurrier just kind of, hey, what's going on, everybody? Just from down the hall. And she looked at us like, "You're going to be able to meet Coach. He's not playing golf today." So I was kind of nervous. He was kind of a legend at that point already. So he comes walking around the corner and kind of introduces himself and kind of pats us on the back and kind of keeps walking. I said, "Hey, Coach, can I show you my highlight tape before you leave?" Because I had it with me. So he was like, kind of scratched his head like he didn't really want to, but like, "All right, yeah, throw it on. Let's go. Come on, Hatchie, throw his tape on." So puts the tape on and watches it for about 20 minutes. And that 20-minute highlight, as soon as that was over, he was like, "You know what? I'm gonna throw my highlight tape on." So he threw his highlight tape on, and then he threw highlights of you and Danny playing and explaining how he would get wide receivers open with route combinations and his philosophy of offense. And that turned into a 3-hour lunch, which turned into 2 weeks later after I get home, a written offer. And it took me about 5 minutes to call and say yes. So that's kind of how it happened. I mean, spring break, randomly in my junior year, going on a unofficial recruiting trip, basically kind of recruiting myself, or at least making it happen, forcing the issue, is how, really I got my dream signing. Because, I mean, there's no better place, especially at that time, late 90s, than being a recruit at the University of Florida to play quarterback, because of what you and Danny really kind of set the table. So
yeah, that's a great story. That is a wonderful story. Yeah. You had a phenomenal 3 years here at Florida, especially your first two. Just talk a little bit about what game stands out the most in your mind.
Well, like I said, I didn't feel underappreciated, but I definitely didn't feel like I was, the guy ever. And I got there early. I redshirted a full year and was able to practice against on the scout team, and they were live against us. And that year, I was able to really develop having to anticipate some throws and going up against big time college football defenses. So that year and a half really was invaluable for me. But my redshirt freshman year, the moment that sticks out to me the most is I was third string, and Brock Berlin was moved ahead of me one day, and this was about 5 games in, and Jesse sprains his ankle. Brock Berlin can't get the signals from the sidelines, and Coach Spurrier kind of looks at me like, "Get in there," and we ended up losing the game, but I went like 14 for 16, 2 touchdowns, and I don't know how many yards, but I never left the field since then. So as a starter, at least, I got yanked a couple times, but for the most part, that was it. And, it's just about taking advantage of your opportunities. So.
No doubt about it. Let's go to your sophomore year, which was a phenomenal year. Y'all were really good on offense. You should have won the Heisman Trophy. There's no question about it. But just talk about that team. So many Gator fans talk about the 96, the 96, the 06, and the 08, the national championship teams. But, just talking to Coach Spurrier the past few years, now that he's retired, he's been reminiscing a lot. He really thinks that his last team that you were the quarterback with Riche, Jabbar Gaffney, and Taylor Jacobs, that was as talented a team as he had. And unfortunately, y'all had to have that game rescheduled against Tennessee that pretty much kept you out of playing for the SEC and the national title. Talk about that year and that team.
Yeah, that team had been building for a while. We had an unbelievable wide receiving core with Riche and Taylor and Jabbar. Jabbar was unbelievable. He just had a knack of being able to separate, and was so damn good. And our defense was really good. And at that point, I felt super confident and comfortable with coach's scheme, and everything was kind of just ripe and ready for a great year. There was no weakness on our team at all. And we got off to a great start and just went 6-0, boom, boom, boom. I think we were ranked number 1. And then we got beat at Auburn on a Saturday night game, one of those trip up games, but we were able to rebound. And like I said, we lost a crucial game right at the end of the year, right before the SEC championship against Tennessee. And, that was it. I look back at that year with such pride, but also disappointment at the same time, because I knew we were, if not the best team in the country, right there with them. So we should have at least won the SEC and could have got a chance to win that national championship along with the Heisman Trophy. So, it was a phenomenal year, but a little disappointing at the same time because we were so damn good.
Speaking with Rex Grossman on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. Rex, the one game that stands out to me, and I can't remember what city I was in. I was playing with a million teams. but it had been your sophomore year. It was in Baton Rouge, Tiger Stadium. The throws you made in that game, you threw for about 400 and something yards, right? Talk about that game. That was a ridiculous game on your part.
Yeah, I mean, whenever as you know, you're playing for Coach Spurrier and the Gators, and you walk into the stadium and everybody hates you, and that kind of fuels you that they're all fired up. You go in on the bus and they're flicking you off, and it was just something about that energy that I think our whole team just got off to a good start, and the momentum just never stopped. Our defense was getting interceptions. I think Todd Johnson had a couple picks, and we were just rolling. And Coach Spurrier allows you to change the play calls, and I was just getting out of bad plays and getting into good plays, and they were working, and they were blitzing, and we were getting the ball off and hitting people in stride. And it was just one of those games where you were in the zone. Everybody on our team was in the zone, and I think we shut them down pretty quickly. It was over by middle of the third quarter, but I'll always remember that game. It's probably the best game I ever played in my life. So, you'll always remember those. So it was out on the road in Baton Rouge. I mean, doesn't get any better playing for the Gators and going and stomping somebody on a Saturday afternoon. So
no doubt about it.
Just great memories.
Talk a little bit about, you got to start as a quarterback for the Bears with all the great tradition in a Super Bowl against Peyton Manning. I mean, there's so many guys that play for years in the National Football League. I mean, I played 14 years, and we never even sniffed an NFC or AFC championship game. And you got to be a starting quarterback in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's something you'll remember the rest of your life.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, the whole process, every step of the way, the whole journey, was unreal. We were able to win the NFC Championship game in Soldier Field with the snow coming down, and locked it up against the Saints, and celebrating the Heisman Trophy with Mrs. McCaskey, his daughter there, and just the whole city lit up and having fun and raising the trophy, and just realizing you're getting ready to play in the Super Bowl was, it was a surreal feeling. And then to take the bus ride to the Super Bowl and go out for warm-ups, knowing you're going to be, starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears in Miami, and Super Bowl was, a feeling I'll never forget. And we came up short, and it rained on us, but like I said, the journey is what I'll always remember. And it had its ups and downs, as did the Super Bowl game, but those life experiences are invaluable. And it was every bit as cool as I dreamt it would be. And the fact that wish we would have won, but is what it is.
Rex, we appreciate you taking the time to join the program today, my man. Y'all stay safe down in South Florida, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Shane. And I want to say thank you for starting it off right, because you were the person that started off the Spurrier era, which really kicked it off. And you were always one of the quarterbacks I always looked up to. And so I just want to say I appreciate you setting it off and getting this tradition going. So
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
We're going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by Coach Spurrier. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Shane. How we doing today? Super Bowl Sunday coming up. Looking forward to watching that one.
Yesterday, Coach, on my show, I had Coach Bobby Bowden on. We talked a little bit about he recruited myself, and it's funny, from my high school, he signed 3 kids, Terrell Buckley, Kez McCorvey, both are in the Florida State Hall of Fame, and also a defensive back named Mario Edwards. And we were just talking about it. You guys went at it back in the 90s. There was nothing like Florida State, and Miami in the 90s. And I want to say you have a winning record against everybody but Florida State, right?
Well, I think I'm 0-1 against – I'm 1-1 against Syracuse. I was just thinking somebody we played just once and got upset maybe along the way. So, but just I think just about everybody else. I'm 0-1 against somebody. I'll think Notre Dame. We only played Notre Dame once. You were there with us.
Yeah, we didn't play very well.
We shot at Notre Dame. So that's the team we're 0-1 against. But, yeah, they beat us more than we beat them. I tell everybody we won the one that counted for all the marbles, fortunately.
Right.
But from 90 through the 12 years I was here, they were in the top 4 in the nation, 11 of 12 years. And we played them last game of the season. And I looked back and I said, if we were smart, maybe we'd say, hey, let's don't play each other the last game of the season. Let's wait and play each other for the national championship. Because one of them knocked the other one out of getting into that final game a lot of times. And Bobby Bowden playing Miami and Florida back in those days, they were top 4 in the country, I think 14 straight years and only 2 national championships. They could have won 7 or 8 of them. He could have been like Nick Saban easily, winning 6, 7, 8 national championships, because they were right there at the top of the college football all those years. So he's had an amazing record that his win-loss percentage may be the best ever. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's the all-time winningest coach, but had to give up some of his victories for something. And now Joe Paterno is the all-time winningest. I asked him about the game. They came back and tied up the game. Was it 31-all? Mm-hmm. And I asked him why he went for 2. There's no way in the world. Why he didn't go for 2. There's no way you wouldn't have gone for 2 if you were in that situation, right, Coach?
I hadn't thought about it. I don't even know if we ever got in that situation where the game was right at the end and so forth. But, since it didn't matter in conference play, now if I needed a tie to win the SEC, I would kick the extra point because that's what it's all about. And so I sort of disagreed when Jimmy Johnson went for 2 at Notre Dame. They were already number 1 in the nation. So a tie, they still going to be number 1. And I disagreed that Tom Osborne went for 2 against FSU in the 93, one of the bowl games down. I'm sorry. Against Miami. It was against Miami that Osborne went for 2 when an extra point would won the national championship. So if it's just a game and there's a winner and a loser, I'd probably go for 2. But at times I think it makes sense to get the tie back in those days.
Y'all have he had a bunch of sons that went on to coach. He coached against his son, Tommy Bowden. His other son, Terry Bowden, is now the head coach. You have 2 sons that are in the coaching business. How do you think if Steve Jr. or Scotty would have been the head coach and you had to coach against them, how would Jerry have been in the stands?
Oh, that would have been difficult. That's never going to happen. So you'd have to ask her. But I don't know who she'd pull for. That would be a tough one. And, I hope Steve Jr. gets a shot to be a head coach here someday. He's at Mississippi State with Mike Leach right now. And he's got a good track record. He's been around a lot of good teams, excellent recruiter and all that. I'm hoping maybe even the UCF job will give him a good look. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yesterday was National Signing Day, Coach, and things have changed in the last 2 or 3 years. They have that early signing period. So there's not a whole lot of excitement. You didn't have to experience it as a head coach, the early signing period, but do you like that if you were still coaching?
No, I would not have liked it. I liked it when we had seasons. We had football season, and then we had recruiting season. And actually during the season, we'd make our recruiting calls, but I didn't like to have official visits on the weekend of home games. I just believe the coaches and the players, let's put everything in trying to win the game here at home. And then when recruiting season comes around, then we'll get all into recruiting. But nowadays, the guys, they pretty much have to recruit year round. And I don't know, sometimes as a head coach, well, what are we going to do with the recruits after the game? And I'd rather be with our coaching staff after the game and so forth. But the whole thing's changed with the portal now. I don't know that I would have liked it, but I would realize you better get in it and you better go get some players out there that can come in and make a difference. So I think Dan Mullen and our staff have done that this year. These 4 guys we picked up so far, I really believe are going to be big help for us this coming year.
Yeah, speaking of the transfer portal, it's pretty much changed college football, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, it's almost just like recruiting now. I heard one guy say we need to do the recruiting rankings after the guys go through the portal to see who's added to those teams and so forth. I also heard that Alabama is number 1 again this year. They've been number 1, Shane, 9 of the last 11 years. And they went on to say, on the radio this morning, that this year's class is actually ranked higher than the other number 1s they've had. So anyway, it's going to be tough to beat those guys unless some schools can, get in that transfer portal and bring guys in that gives those teams a chance to match up with Alabama, because they got the best players in the country. So you got to find a way to beat them another way, and that's to get in that transfer portal.
Yeah, at Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. We're speaking with Coach Steve Spurrier here on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Coach, let's switch gears to the NFL. It's Super Bowl weekend. One of your old teams, the Bucs, are playing the Chiefs. Give me your thoughts. Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think both quarterbacks are, with Aaron Rodgers, he's got to be up there as considered the best in the NFL this year. But over time, obviously, Tom Brady, what he's achieved is the best of all time. And I sort of think the Bucs are a team of destiny. I think it's going to work out. They won all 3 playoff games on the road. And it seems like when it's time for a good break, it's come their way through the playoffs. And plus their defense is playing very well now. So I'm just sort of thinking maybe Kansas City will have a little bit of an off game. They've at times can have one, like everybody, not many, but it should be a heck of a game. But I'm gonna pick the Bucs to squeak one out, another one to get that second Super Bowl championship for Tampa Bay.
Have you ever seen a guy as talented as Patrick Mahomes?
He probably is the protege quarterback everybody's looking for. Just a beautiful passer that can dodge guys and run occasionally and throw the ball sidearm, overhand, underhand. He is a natural. There's no question about that. So, if you were an offensive coach, that's the kind of guy you'd love to have. That usually the big, tall guys that are stiff, they're the great passers, and the runaround guys are not quite as good passers usually. But Mahomes has got it all, certainly.
Yeah, he definitely does. Coach, talk briefly about Tom McEwen, who was a sports writer down in Tampa. You've told this story, but I'd like for all our listeners to know how special he is to you, but the whole city of Tampa, because they gave you your first coaching job with the Bandits.
That's right. Tom McEwen, wonderful friend, close friend. During my college days, he had such an influence on all the writers across the nation. They'd have a national sports writers conventions. And he was a guy that all the guys gravitated to. He was, when he talked, everybody listened. And what a wonderful guy. He probably helped win me the Heisman. He told all the guys around the country, hey, let's vote for that Florida quarterback. And they did. So I owe him that. And then I'm coaching up at Duke University as an assistant coach, and John Bassett, Tampa Bay Bandits, come to town. And Tom McEwen told Bassett, he said, you ought to go hire that guy up at Duke, Steve Spurrier. And so he came up and interviewed me and hired me that night. And after the press conference, I asked him how much, by the way, what am I making? And he said, well, the general manager will get with you. We'll figure that out later. So anyway, he gave me an opportunity. But Tom McEwen was extremely important there. And then even the Florida job, there were some people around here that weren't all in my corner, even though we just won the ACC championship at Duke. They said, that guy plays golf and he doesn't work very hard. You know how that is, Shane. If you happen to be a decent golfer, which I was back then, people assume, well, he doesn't work very hard. But anyway, Tom McEwen was always in my corner. And after we won the national championship in '96, he was in the hospitality room with us in New Orleans. And I never will forget, he said, I didn't know if I'd live long enough to see my Gators win the national championship. And then he lived long enough to see Tampa Bay win the Stanley Cup in hockey and the baseball team. The Rays won the national championship of baseball, World Series. So he got it all done, and just a wonderful guy.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Be safe and get your money from Dr. Pete now.
Yeah, I got to get on him. I got to collect that $5 or $6 he owes me. Okay.
All right, that's Coach Steve Spurrier. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Thank you, Coach. We're now going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're going to be joined by the 1993 Heisman Trophy winner, Mr. Charlie Ward. Good morning, Charlie. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Shane. Are you at the Masters?
I am. I wish I was there. It's one of my favorite weeks, Charlie. I know you can play it all, but how's your golf game?
It's the same as how much I practice or play.
I hear you.
It's don't play it a lot, so it's inconsistent. I do hit some good shots to say that I can come back, but I want to go back, but it's not something I do on a regular basis.
Gotcha. Well, Charles, when I bring athletes on here, I like to talk about your younger days. You grew up at Thomasville, Georgia, was a star athlete there. Was it a foregone conclusion that you were going to play for the Seminoles, or what other schools did you think about going to?
No, I mean, actually, the recruitment process started a little bit, I think, around my junior year. And it was, of course, back then, and maybe it is the same way today, I had a lot of letters just from different schools across the country. And then my senior year, when it rolled around, there were like 3 schools that it came down to. There was Florida State, University of Georgia, and Georgia Tech. And my buddy, Sean Jones, ended up going to Georgia Tech. He chose Georgia Tech, and then UGA and Florida State were the 2 schools that it came down to. And I chose Florida State because Coach Bowden was going to allow me to play basketball as well. And he had some history on this side for allowing guys to play basketball and football. Brad Johnson was a guy that was able to do it. And so I was going to hold him to his word. And, that's essentially one of the things that it came down to. But growing up, yes, we were, we were football fanatics, but we were closer to Florida State. We got all the Bobby Bowden highlights or coaches shows each Sunday morning, reviewing the game. And so we grew up watching the Seminoles, but I also grew up, going to FAMU games because my mom and dad and sister were alumni. Where my mom and dad were alumni at the time, but so we grew up going to Tallahassee a lot.
So, Charlie, you talked about Coach Bowden honoring you be able to play 2 sports. I know Dion played 2 sports. My high school teammate T-Buck played a little bit of baseball as well. But, your first couple years, you were redshirted, and then you were the punter on the team, and you got to play basketball as well. how difficult was it to balance both sports? And do you think an athlete in today's world could play both sports at a major university?
It wasn't really difficult because it was something that I enjoyed doing. And when you enjoy doing something, it's really not a big chore. It's just a matter of making time, organizing your time. And I was grateful that I had people to help me in that area. But the key for me, Shane, was my second year, my redshirt year. And, you know, when Coach Bowden gave me the opportunity to go out and play basketball full time because I was a redshirt, that gave me the foundation that I needed to establish myself as a basketball player. And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of times when guys are playing multiple sports, if they're trying to play basketball and football, a lot of times if your coach don't allow you to go and get established in that sport, whatever the second sport is, if it's baseball, it's a little easier. And even with that, you normally find yourself being a pitch runner or pitch hitter. You very rarely see the two-sport guy being in the field because that's just they don't have the time, and they're the guys that are there, they're going to put there. So I was able to establish myself as a basketball player my second year, which was very, very key because after that, I wasn't able to go back out to basketball until after football season was over. And if I didn't establish myself in that year that I had basketball full time, then I would have been just a reserve, a guy that comes out and didn't have an opportunity to, you know, put my imprint on or have a position on the basketball team. And so a lot of times, the reason why I don't think it'll happen today is because most coaches aren't going to allow a guy to go and establish himself as a basketball player because he's going to end up having to go after football season. And when he goes after football season, the basketball coaches already have their guys that they've been working with and they're in shape and those types of things. And they're just fillers. And so what you find is most guys say this is a waste of my time. And then they end up having to choose what sport they want to pursue because, as you know, times have changed. You know, when we were coming along, you could kind of not go through the motions, but it wasn't as accelerated when it comes to, you know, the workouts, the regiments, and all the different things that they have going on today. And so it's just to a point now where you're going to have to make a decision if you want to try to pursue something professionally. And I just think it's tough if you can't get your feet established or your foundation established on the team, whatever your second sport is.
Charlie, when you look back at your college football career, you know, Florida State was running more of a pro-style system until you were inserted as the quarterback. And I want to say Mark Richt was the coordinator at the time. But y'all spread it out, and you were, in my opinion, the term dual threat, you were really the first one, I think, in college football. They didn't use that term back in 1993 and 92. But when you look back, you know, I don't want to say if you were coming out now, do you think you would have tried to play in the NFL? Because when we came out of college, they wanted the big 235-pound pocket passer that could, you know, big, strong arm. Now you see all these different Kyler Murrays, these different dual threat guys. Do you think you may have made a different choice and tried to play in the NFL instead of the NBA?
Well, I'm not going to say that my career in the NBA was not very good.
Well, no. I didn't mean it that way. It was very good.
I know what you're saying. It would be difficult. It would have been more of a difficult choice because now they're choosing guys very similar to me in the first round. And that was my stickler with, the NFL when I was coming out, that, if I wasn't going to get chosen in the first round, then I was going to consider my other options. And that was, something that I made a statement, and I was sticking by it because I just felt like I had options. And that was the reason why I continued to play basketball in college my senior year, so that I could keep my options open. But I'm happy, that guys my size, the way we played the game, are getting opportunities now. But times will change. Like you said, when we were coming out, you had to be a certain size, had to be a certain play a certain way, and if you didn't, you were going to be a third or fourth round pick. That was just the way it was, and so it was just unfortunate at the time. But I made decisions based upon what I was going through at that time. But if it was the same way today, it would be a much difficult decision, much more of a difficult decision.
We're speaking with Charlie Ward on the Titan More Hotline. Charlie, you look back to 1993, the year you win the Heisman Trophy, y'all win the national title. You won every possible college award there was. Y'all lost early in the year to Notre Dame, and I think the following week they lose. They get upset by Boston College, allows you to play for the national title. But you had a spectacular performance in the Swamp in 1993 against the Gators. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but that was Coach Spurrier's first home loss in his coaching career. What was more exciting, winning that game or winning the national title? I mean, the national title was like an 18-16, it was kind of a defensive struggle, but it had to be a lot of fun to perform the way you did in the Swamp.
Yes, I didn't know that was his first loss. I knew they were on a winning streak. It was like 22 or 23 home game winning streak when we came down. But winning a national championship, it's not easy. And so that, regardless of what the score was, it was a hard fought game, and winning that championship is not easy. However, beating the Gators in the Swamp is not easy as well, but it's also a great feat because, as a rivalry, and have an opportunity to do that on their home turf was definitely a great feeling as well. They did the whole game. We controlled the whole game until the fourth quarter, and they made some miraculous catches and runs and different things to get them back in the game. And I always tell our guys that I coach now here at Florida High that whenever the game is in balance, or whenever there's a close or comeback or whatever the case may be, guys got to step up and make plays. You can say it's coaching, but when it's all said and done, guys have to step up and make plays when they need those plays to be made. And I was grateful that I was able to, make a play at the end of the game to seal it, throwing the ball to work. And of course, there was other factors in there. People see my man Tamar. Of course, if you're a Gator, you're saying he's blocking in the back. If you're a Seminole, you're saying that's a great shield block. But when it was all said and done, there was no flag, and we were able to, get out of there with the win. So I say both games are, great feelings, but it's hard to go against winning a national championship.
Well, it's awesome stuff, Charlie Ward. We got a Facebook Live. Natasha says here, well, crap. I don't want to like a Knoll, but Charlie is amazing. So
well, I appreciate it.
We appreciate you taking the time to join us today, my man. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right, thanks. I was going to wear my orange and blue.
Knicks, New York Knicks?
Yes, my New York Knicks colors, just to make you feel comfortable.
All right, my man. Hey, be safe. We'll talk to you soon. That's Charlie Ward.
Right.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
We're now going to go to the Titan MR hotline by a guy who probably is going to have a free tab at the new Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Hall of Fame quarterback and Heisman Trophy winner in 1996, Danny Wuerffel. Good morning, Danny. How are you?
Hey, man, it's great to be on the show. I don't know about a free tab there. Coach Spurrier is one of the most amazing people I know, but I'm not sure about that.
I agree. That was totally a joke. We know ain't nothing going to be free there. So, Danny, this week is your Desire Cup, which is a huge fundraiser for Desire Street Ministries. This is our Monday show. The event is Thursday and Friday. You've moved locations. It's the 10th year of the Desire Cup. Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, you've been great. You've been such a faithful participant, so thank you for that. But we bring, a lot of Florida greats together, and Coach Spurrier will be there, and many other players, and Coach Dooley from the Georgia side, and many players from their team will gather. And it's just been a real fun event to kind of have competitive golf between Florida and Georgia folks. We've done it at different places, typically at Sawgrass, and this year we moved to St. Simon's and are doing it at Sea Island. It's our 10th anniversary, so we're really excited about that. We're a little bit like everybody these days, a little bit limited with what we can do with COVID, so it's going to be a little bit smaller than normal, and we're sold out in terms of our capacity, but we're really excited about it. There are a few spots left for golf if people want to come up and golf on Friday. And then, of course, we have what we call the 19th hole, which is a way for people to support our work in the event, even if they can't be there. So if people would go to desirestreet.org, you can help us out from afar. So, yeah, thanks for asking, Shane.
Yeah, so Danny, this is the 10th year, as you mentioned. Talk a little bit about how much money roughly you've been able to raise over the 10 years for this event.
Well, each year's a little bit different. Last year was our biggest year, and we actually netted about $300,000, which was just an incredible help for what we're doing. And, the work that we do in under-resourced neighborhoods all over the South. All this money will go towards that, and we've got a 5-year goal now to impact 20 neighborhoods going forward over the next 5 years, and this money will go directly to that.
So you've been in the Ponte Vedra Sawgrass area for 9 of the years. So were the Georgia Bulldogs bitching and complaining and said, "Hey, man, you need to take this event to the state of Georgia"?
Well, we did 2 up in Amelia Island.
That's right.
So we not all the way to Georgia, but we got a little bit closer for some of our Bulldog friends. So just trying to change it up a little bit, get a little bit more Georgia participation. And, I may not use the same words, but maybe so.
Danny, also I want to talk to you about the Wuerffel Trophy. A lot of people may not realize about the Wuerffel Trophy around the country. Obviously, they've heard of the Heisman, the Maxwell, the Jim Thorpe, those type of awards. Talk about when you started the Wuerffel Trophy. And I want to say coaches or sports information people nominate certain players. How's that all work out?
Yeah, so, there's an award for just about everything on the field, and then there's a great award for the Scholar Athlete of the Year, the Campbell Trophy from the National Football Foundation. But, a lot of these guys are doing incredible amounts of community service and not being recognized for it. And so about 15 years ago, a group asked if I would lend my name to this effort to really inspire people to do more service in the world by honoring the college football players who excel at it. And so we've been on this journey, and each year we get about 100 nominees from Division I football players all over the country. Typically, it's a sports information director or athletic director that will nominate. And then we've got selection committee. We've got different coaches and broadcasters and former winners that all vote, really primarily looking at their community service sheets. So you're talking about hundreds or thousands of hours of time where they're serving in their neighborhoods, reading at schools, going on mission trips, you name it, they've been a part of it. And so it's just been an incredible, exciting thing. And, the whole idea is to inspire greater service in the world. And this is our ability to use the platform of football to highlight great work and encourage all of us to do a little bit more.
So when you have a big banquet, I believe, and give out this award, is it in Fort Walton Beach?
It is, yep. In Fort Walton, typically in February is when we actually present the award. But we announced it in New York in years past, along with the National Football Foundation's banquet. And this year is going to be a little different. Everything's a little bit in flux with COVID, but we've got a lot of nominees in again, and we're looking forward to honoring all of them, and especially the winner.
We got a text here on the Titan MR text line. It comes from Larry. He wants to know, Danny, why don't we ever see you on the Nissan Heisman House commercials?
Well, I had my run a few years ago. I went 2 years in a row. It's been about 3 or 4 years. So if you YouTube it or Google it, you'll find me on some, just not on some of the recent ones. It's actually everyone loves it so much. There's huge competition to get on it. So every year everybody's trying to jockey to be a part of it. But I made the cut a few years ago. Tons of fun.
Where do they shoot that? What house is that? Where's it located?
Well, it's been a few different places. Originally, many of the years, it was at a place in Pasadena, California, an old house that's now sort of a public museum that you can rent. I think that the commercials I saw for this year were filmed somewhere else. I'm not even sure where they were filmed, but it looked like a different spot. But yeah, it's a fun event.
No doubt. We're speaking with Danny Wuerffel a few more minutes here with the 1996 Heisman Trophy winner. Gators sit at 2-1, had some COVID issues. What have you seen from the Gators, especially offensively, in the 3 games that we've played this year, Danny?
Well, I probably don't have any insight that you haven't covered at great detail and probably with more passion. But, I mean, offensively, it's been incredibly exciting to see. I've been a big fan of Trask since early last year, and just really think that he's a tremendous quarterback, obviously, and has the skills that I think can translate even to the next level well. And then you get the great weapons around him, and Kyle Pitts and everybody else. It's just fun to watch, which then makes it as equally as frustrating that we've struggled so much at defense, because this clearly could be an outstanding year, and still can be. But we're going to have to, really step up that defense and get them the ball a few more times, and then it could be really special.
So are we allowed to ask you right now, there are a few weeks into the season, I guess some teams have played 5 games. Who is Danny Wuerffel? Who's on the ballot for Danny Wuerffel for the Heisman Trophy winner this year?
Oh, it's so early. Yeah, I definitely will. We'll wait that through, but it's fun to know that we got a guy at Florida that's turning heads already, and hopefully he'll continue to do well and get on that ballot. But we'll have to follow up on that one later.
Yeah. Last thing for you, Danny. Let everybody know. We're going to put it on our Facebook page here. Let everybody know if they do want to come play golf, there's still room available, but how they can donate to the 19th hole. And also, can you mention some of the former players from Georgia and Florida that may be there?
Yeah, for sure. So, obviously we're grateful to have you there. Judd Davis will be there. We got a quarterback kicker contingent, Steve Spurrier, and probably not this year, but in several years, Tim Tebow's come by and been there for us, which has been great. Doug Johnson's going to show up and be a part as well this year. So we're continuing our QB kicker domination. Georgia, Vince Dooley, as I mentioned, in years past, Herschel Walker has come, but Kevin Butler, the great kicker, Lindsey Scott, and several others will be joining us from the Georgia side this year as well. And again, it's desirestreet.org, one long word, and spell out street, desirestreet.org. And you can get all the information. There's a few spots left to golf on Friday. And then, of course, the 19th hole would be greatly appreciated if anybody can help support the event just from afar. So appreciate you, Shane, for everything. Thanks for having me on the show, and keep up all the good work, buddy.
Thank you, Danny. We appreciate you joining the program. Stay safe, and we'll see you this weekend, buddy.
Sounds great. Thanks.